Hey everybody, it's Joric. Welcome back. Hope you're doing great wherever you are in the world. Today I wanted to talk briefly about some updates to the immigration law in Portugal, separate from citizenship. There have been some updates on the immigration side, and I want to go through some of them because they're going to impact everyone that is a resident, and then the upcoming week after I make this video, the following week, there's going to be potentially a vote and maybe some potential changes coming to citizenship. But when it comes to immigration, here's kind of what we're looking at. And I just want to get your feedback on, does this impact your thoughts on moving to Portugal, or if you've recently moved, based upon what might be coming from the renewal side of things, is that going to be something that you're going to say, okay, well, we're going to do something else, or nope, we're committed to Portugal. So here goes. Biggest thing, and this is something that was, I think, originally thrown out there months ago, a 2-year wait for reunification. So that's the part where the family members, you have the primary resident visa card holder, and then you have family members. So for example, when we moved on a work visa, wife was primary and I was reunified, but it happened a month after her appointment, and so it was very quick and expedient. But now it's going to be a 2-year wait. There are some exceptions. If you've been together for more than 2 years, I believe it's going to be 18 months, so a little quicker, but still, that's a long wait to be able to start the reunification process. And here's what's funny about that is it may take the primary person that long to get their card, their first card, 18 months before they apply for the spouse. There is something, though, I want to make sure that immediately, so there is no waiting period here, if I'm reading this right. Minor children can be reunified. Those who are on a golden visa, so the reunification for family members who are on a golden visa. And then if you're on a D3 visa, that's another area where there would not be a waiting period. And so that's a big one. If you got to wait a long time, you got to wait a long time to get your card anyway, the primary person. Now, if you, most of the people watching this video are probably going to go, you're single, so you don't have to worry about reunification, or it's a couple based upon the demographics. It's not many families are watching my videos. So the spouse is someone that you're now going to have to wait, unless you're coming in on a golden visa or a D3. That's one piece, and that's a major piece, and I think that will definitely dissuade people from looking to move to Portugal. And I think most of this here is geared up towards having people not come to Portugal and reduce the level of stress that's on AMA, because as I just made a video, it's broken and I don't think it's getting fixed any year soon. Here's some other things that I want to make sure I'm reading through, and please, if this is not correct or if I'm misstating something, please comment below, because I want to make sure that I'm getting out good information. So I'm trying to read this from Portugal here. It's also stating that there'd be a mandatory integration program, and this is part of Article 88A, which has been amended. After obtaining a residence permit, foreigners would enroll in some sort of an integration program that's run by AMA, which I don't want to laugh out loud, but AMA can't get anything right. It's like like I said, the immigration is completely flawed, broken, and not working. But allegedly, they would be in charge of an integration program, which God help all of us. That would be a basic Portugal language training, a minimum of A1, which if you're doing, now this is again separate, if you're doing citizenship and permanent residency, so different discussion, A2 is what you need. So A1 would be very basic. And for people that are really thrown off or worried about the language thing, because that came up for our whole time there, said, oh, it's so daunting. I don't think it's that hard, and I'm not a language person. From an A2 perspective, from passing the course and the test, my structure, I can speak Portuguese, the A2, but my pronunciation sucks. It's terrible. It's a discredit to the Portuguese. I'm not doing a good job of speaking, but being able to read and comprehend, pretty good, and continuing to get better. So I wouldn't be that worried about trying to get a language thing, but I'm going to bring that back later on. Also having some sort of a civic education or learning about how the government works, maybe some history about Portugal. And there are other countries out there that have a similar type of requirement, as well as language too. I want some friends that are expats in Germany, and they have, I don't know what level, but they've been there for several years, and they've had to take some sort of a language as part of keeping their residence. So it's not unheard of, and it may be very common. And then language proficiency for family reunification renewals. So that implies to me that family members, spouses, and possibly kids may need to know Portuguese, and for that it would be an A2 level, which would be the CIPL exam, a CIPLE exam, or equivalent certification from CAPLE, CAPLE. That's the Center for Evaluation of Portuguese Language Proficiency. This next one coming up is a curveball, because I want to ask additional proof of self-sufficiency so that you can afford to live there. I'm going to read this, and please, if this isn't accurate, let me know here. At least 120% of minimum wage per family member. So at least 120% of whatever the prevailing minimum wage is in Portugal per family member. Adequate housing, knowledge of civic values. So that's where initial permits require only basic evidence, meaning the enrollment in such things, but renewals demand full certification. There may be exceptions for people over 60, people are disabled, and then people from CPLP countries, so Portuguese-speaking countries that have some documentation on that. That to me, I'm curious to see why that is out there. Because, example, for D7 visa holders, it's just the minimum wage. In Portugal, you need to show that you're getting dividends or Social Security, something above that mark. So that one's a weird one to me. And then under Article 77, which has been updated, general residency renewal requirements require proof of integration process, so the language course. So it looks like A1 to begin with, and then after 2 years, you need to have A2. And then lastly, of course, no criminal record, stable housing. It says, and health insurance. So many people have insurance when they're in Portugal, private insurance. Most of the people that we knew that were expats, we had Medish, and many people had a variety of healthcare options. But it looks like the transitional rules would be pre-2025 applicants up through December 31st, 2025. That's what I'm seeing so far. And what I want to know is this information accurate, or have I got this wrong here? And if so, please correct me below. But if this is the case, along with what is probably coming with the citizenship update that's going to be voted on in Parliament next week, very curious to hear, it seems to me that Portugal is going to put a lot of regulations in place to mitigate and stop people from coming to Portugal. And the reason is they have a system that they can't figure out, which is their immigration system isn't working, and they have an agency that can't handle it and manage it. So this, I'm guessing, is the Portugal way of being able to mitigate some of the disaster that's immigration, is just making it more difficult for people to be able to go. So if you're watching this video, if you're committed to Portugal, I don't know if all of this is technically law or if there's still room for discussion, but I would probably, if you're on the fence about learning the language, I think from now on, anyone that's going to move to Portugal, you're going to need to know something, at least an A level and probably an A2, because it just seems like it's a matter of time before you're going to need to know that to be able to live there. And that's a discussion for another day. I've made several videos about whether it's worth it to know the language or not, but it seems like it's aiming towards anyone that's going to be a resident there is going to need to know at least the basic minimum, an A1 level and A2 to be there. And it also seems like from a financial standpoint, they're going to require more from people. Now, with all that said, and I apologize, I'm 11 minutes into the video. I try to make shorter videos, but does anyone have any, if you're watching it this far, anyone have any illusions, or I'll say delusions, that AIMA's going to figure this out and put something in place by 2030? They can't handle the residence permits, the initial ones, and renewals. There's a 3 to 4 year backlog on getting citizenship. But now they are going to be in charge of an integration program of keeping up on language with people. And right now, it's difficult to, if you're trying to sign up for A2, there are many people that have reached out and said they're having a hard time finding a place where they can get in for a course or a class, because there's so many people that are trying to get the language that they can't find it. So unless they're going to hire more people and more proctors to do more classes and exams, I don't know how any of this stuff is going to work. This may all get punted for the next year or the next 5 years. Not to say that some of this is bad, but I really want to get your take, because I just don't see, from 5 years in Portugal, there's a lot of talk. There isn't a hell of a lot of action. You know, for over 50 years, they've talked about expanding Lisbon Humberto Airport. Hasn't happened. Probably not gonna. Oh yeah, it's going across the river. Probably not. This is one of those things that I wonder, there's a lot of talk and there's a lot of, here's what's going to happen. I just wonder, how is this stuff actually going to be implemented? Very curious to see. It's also going to make another video coming up, because it's going to be a really big week when it comes to citizenship, and to see what finally happens there to those people that are looking to get citizenship. And part of that is starting right here with the initial immigration and getting your resident visa. So please comment below. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Also, if there's more information that I left out, please put it in the comments so that people reading can get updated on the latest and greatest. So like I said, it took a month off. There wasn't a whole lot going on. Now all of a sudden there's a lot of stuff happening in Portugal I'm going to try to get to. As always, thank you so much for watching, and enjoy your travels.